Hello, this is the first part of Lesson 8, Everglades Forever is the name of the story we're going to be reading. This is actually... Oh, I thought it was a new unit. Anyway, by now you should have done your vocabulary and context, okay? You should have read them, done your 3 times each, and also done your picture walk, okay? So I'm going to preview the topic with you now, okay? And the topic is conservation. So we're going to find out what it means to conserve, okay? Okay. The term conservation refers to any activity that helps protect wildlife and natural resources, such as water and soil. Conservation includes what people can do every day, such as walking instead of driving, or turning down the thermostat. It also includes large projects conducted by experts, such as reintroducing a species of animal into a particular habitat. In Everglades Forever, the author goes along on a field trip in southern Florida to learn about conserving the Everglades. By sharing the students' discoveries, the author also shows readers how they can help and why their efforts are necessary. Okay, so this is about saving our land, saving our planet, conserving our natural resources, okay? Using them responsibly. Okay, so our essential question on page 237 is, what reasons do people have for protecting the environment? What is the motivation? Why should we protect our environment? Okay, so on page 238, I'm going to start reading. You can follow along. There's a map of southern Florida where the Everglades are. You could see by the key, the map legend. There's different reserves. I'm actually familiar with this area because I used to go dirt bike riding down there. Big Cypress Natural Preserve is actually an Indian reservation. They have the Everglades National Park. They have Everglades Agricultural Area. So it's like a big swampy area, okay, in southern Florida that they're going to visit. And there's a lot of wildlife there. Okay, so let's begin. In Homestead, Florida, the students in Mrs. Stone's 5th grade class have been learning about the Everglades, which is a vast natural wetland located in the southern tip of Florida. Since the year 2000, the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan has helped preserve this wetland and its natural water system. Now, all of Mrs. Stone's students are visiting the Everglades to experience this amazing place and learn what they can do to preserve it. The map on the right shows where the Everglades National Park is located in Florida and the areas Miss Stone class has explored. On the morning of the field trip, the bus traveled west from Avocado School. The students saw the landscape change from houses and shopping centers to a flat, grassy prairie that met the horizon miles away. Soon, they arrived at the Royal Palm Visitor Center, which is part of the Everglades National Park. Okay, and you can see the picture of them all there. Okay, pretty big group. And then on the other page, you could also see a group of them. They're hanging out on the ledge of a fence, okay? So on page 239, Miss Stone had arranged for the class to meet Ranger Jim at the visitor center. From there, the ranger led them to the start of the Hanala Trail, which is a boardwalk circling into a slough. It was the dry season, which lasts from December through April, so the water levels were low. But there is a deep part of the slough at the beginning of the trail that never dries up. Around the edge of this part, large water birds called anigas, I'm going to try this again, anigas, sun their wings. Anigas hold out their wings to thermomagate, which is basically regulating their body temperature. They soak up the sun's energy to keep their bodies warm. An osprey, a fish-eating hawk, waited in a tree for a flash of fish in the water. In the distance, an ergot stood in the sawgrass, and a flock of endangered wood storks flew overhead. Some animals I haven't heard of. Okay? There's a picture on the next page on 240, a great blue heron feeding on fish. Okay, so that's one of the type of birds that's in there. Right now, you'll see many animals close together around deeper water areas, said Ranger Jim. Fish and smaller water animals had migrated to these deep water areas to search for food. Wading birds, alligators, ospreys, and cornuts, which were large diving birds with bright green eyes, followed to feed on the fish and smaller animals. Alligators also used their tails, snouts, and feet to dig deep holes, which fill with water. These holes are places for alligators to cool off while they wait for a meal of the small animals that are attracted to the water-filled holes. During the wet season, which lasts from May to November, the water covers much of the land. Then the animals spread out because the water that carries their food is spread out. The Everglades has a wet and dry seasons, but it also has wetter and drier areas caused by how high the land is above the water level. Even just a few inches of elevation can make a difference in how wet or dry the soil remains throughout the year. These differences in moisture help create unique habitats, each with its own special set of plants and animals. One of the lowest Everglade habitats is the mangrove swamp, which you could see below. You can see it pretty much looks like a lake. It's a swamp, but it's definitely a lot of water there. So it's named for its mangrove trees that line the islands and bays leading into the ocean. Fresh rainwater flows towards these areas and mixes with salty ocean water, making the water in mangrove swamps brackish. The mangrove trees have specially adapted roots and leaves so they could live in this salty, muddy water. The swamps also serve as nurseries for shrimp, bonefish, and other marine animals that need a protected place to grow before they head into the ocean. If the brackish water in the mangrove swamps changes, these animals cannot survive. Since two goals of the restoration plan are to allow Everglade water to flow more naturally to the ocean and to regulate the amount of fresh water flowing during each season, animals of the mangrove swamps, including pelicans, sea turtles, and the endangered American crocodiles and manatees, will be helped to survive. Okay, we're going to stop there. That's about halfway through, okay? So we're going to see what other kind of vegetation and animals that these students are going to see, okay? Interesting. A lot of different animals that I never heard of before, and definitely a lot of swampy areas in southern Florida. It's one of the lower elevations, so that's why it's so swampy there. Okay, so we'll pick this up tomorrow, okay? The second half. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.